Welcome back. In our next learning target of this unit, we're going to learn how to translate between verbal and algebraic expressions, which means that when you read a statement in words, how can you translate that sentence or statement into words into numbers and symbols? So for a lot of students, this can be really tricky. Turning English or any language into values and numbers can be really hard. So I'm going to try my best to walk you through this the best way I can. And again, as always, if you have questions, pause the video and come ask for help. So we're going to start off with addition and subtraction words and translations. So let's first think of some words that represent addition. So addition uses words like greater, words like more, or add, or sum. Those are just a few examples of words we use for addition. For subtraction, you're going to have words that are like difference, less, smaller, and of course subtract. So these are just a few words that represent addition and subtraction. So let's take a look at some examples of what I'd like you to be able to do with these words. So example 1 says translate the following statements into algebraic expressions. So we're not going to do equations, we're going to do expressions first. So letter A says a number that is 5 greater than 3. So this greater right here, that means plus. So we're just looking for 5 plus 3. That is 5 greater than 3. We know that's 8, but I want us to be able to write down what the expression is, not what the answer is, if that makes sense. For letter B, a number that is 2 less than 9. This is not, if you write 2 minus 9, that is not correct. If I have 2 less than 9, I'm starting with 9 and I'm taking away the 2. So whenever you see less than, you kind of have to switch the numbers. Okay, so it's not 2 minus 9, it's 9 minus 2. That trips up students a lot when they see the less. Letter C, the sum of negative 3 and 8. Sum means add, so negative 3 plus 8 is my expression. D, the difference of 20 and 12, that's 20 minus 12. That's not switched because we're saying the difference of the two things. We don't need to switch it for that. Letter E, a number 10 greater than x. Greater than is addition, so that's 10 plus x now. F, 5 less than n. Again, we do the part where we switch the two numbers if we have the word less. So it's going to be n minus 5. Okay. And G and F. So G and F get a little bit more complicated because we just have more words. And more words tend to be a little bit more overwhelming, but if we underline or circle our key words, that can really help us out. So the sum of means addition. So we're saying the sum of x and a number 1 greater than y. So that's saying we've got x plus 1 plus y. Because the sum of x and a number 1, so there's x plus 1, and then greater than y is also addition, so we're adding y as well. So this is all adding 3 of them together, x plus 1 plus y. For letter F, this one's a bit more complicated. This I'm even going to put over here, this is challenging. So you know that even though I'm explaining it, you might still walk away feeling like, that one was pretty tricky. So the difference between a number 1 larger than n and 1 smaller than n. So I see this first word difference and I think subtraction. So I'm going to have a subtraction sign. I'm going to write that down. What am I subtracting? I'm subtracting a number 1 larger than n and I'm subtracting a number 1 smaller than n. So for this first one, In fact, I'm going to use two different colors. The number 1 larger than n is just going to be n plus, 1 plus n. The 1 plus n. Larger means addition. So I'm going to put that in parentheses, 1 plus n. And this is where my minus sign goes, this and, minus, and then 1 smaller than n. So that's going to be n minus 1. This is probably one of the harder ones that we're going to do in this learning target. Okay, so if I lost you anywhere in that explanation, please come up and talk to me. I can help walk you through it again. Happy to do so. Okay. All right, let's move on to multiplication and division. So multiplication and division, let's talk about what some of those words are. So for multiplication, we have words like times, twice, or double. That means multiply by 2. Also, the word of can be multiplication. If you have that word of, that can kind of mean, hey, you're multiplying here. Division, we're going to have words like ratio or quotient. Hopefully you've seen those words before. They mean division. So let's start off with those as our list and take a look at some examples. So translate again the following statements into algebraic expressions. So for letter A, says a number that is 8 times greater than 2. So a number that's 8 times greater than 2 is just going to be 8 times 2. I'm not going to write 16, I'm just going to put 8 times 2 because I want that expression, 8 times 2. For letter B, a number that is twice x. Twice means that we're multiplying by 2. Okay, so 2 times x. For C, the ratio of 4 and 7. Ratio means divide, and we're going to use a fraction to show division. Always. We're not using the division symbol. So if I say a ratio of 4 and 7, I'm saying 4 divided by 7 as a fraction. And for letter D, the quotient of x and 3 is going to be x divided by 3. Okay. So those are translating algebraic expressions from language. So we're translating those. The last part we're going to do are complex expressions and equations. So if I look at combining some of these simple phrases that we've been using, we're going to look at some more longer phrases to use. So letter A says 3 less than 1/2 of x. I'm going to start with this 1/2 of x. 1/2 of x is 1/2 times x. You don't need to put the little symbol, but if you want to put it there, it's okay. I'd prefer you would just write that 1/2 x though. Then 3 less than makes this minus 3. Remember that less is subtraction, but you flip the first and the last part of the statement. So 1/2 x minus 3. B says 6 more than twice x. So more is plus, and twice x is 2x. So that's 6 plus 2x. For C, this one's a little tricky. I've got 4 times, so that means multiply. And I've got this sum, I'll use a different color here. Sum means addition, but this sum of phrase means that you're going to use parentheses. So sum of is special. So sum of, I'll put it up here, or difference of means that you use parentheses. So I've got 4 times the sum of x and 8. Well, x and 8 is x plus 8. So for my final answer, I'm going to have 4 times, and I'm going to put that in parentheses, x plus 8. Because remembering there's that invisible multiplication symbol between the parentheses and the 4. So that one's really tricky. Go into this knowing that one's tricky. D is very similar. I've got 1/3 the difference of x and 9. So just like I said that sum of is multiplication, the difference of, the difference of is also multiplication, and we use those parentheses. So I've got this x plus 9, and this 1/3, the difference is saying I've got 1/3 times x plus 9. Okay. E says the ratio of 2 less than 4 to 4 more than x. I'm going to slow this down a little bit and underline the word ratio. Ratio means a fraction, so I'm going to draw a fraction bar. Okay, it is division, but like I said earlier, when we have division, we write a fraction bar. And I've got two things to think about. I've got this 2 less than x. 2 is where my division happens. And then I've got 4 more than x. Well, 2 less than x is x minus 2, and 4 more than x is 4 plus x. So I'm going to put that x minus 2 on top of my fraction, and the 4 plus x on the bottom of my fraction. Okay. And finally, letter F, I've got 5 less than 2 times the difference of x and 3. I know when you read this, it can be overwhelming. Like, that is a lot of vocabulary. That's a lot of numbers all mixed together. But we're going to take it step by step. So 5 less than 2 times the difference of x and 3. I'm going to start at the end here. And when I see the difference of x and 3, I know that that's going to be x minus 3. When I see this 2 times the difference, I'm thinking 2 times. And then when I see this 5 less, I think of it being at the very end, because I'm going to be taking that 5 away. And like we said with the word less, we switch it. So if the 5's in front, in this case, it's going to go at the end. So then I'm going to have this 2 times the difference of x minus 3 minus 5. So notice how I split that up and wrote it as one big expression. These are tricky. Okay, so if you feel a little overwhelmed or like, whoa, this is a lot, that's normal, okay? But again, you can always pause and come ask for help, and I'm happy to help with the practice as always. We've got a couple more examples to do, one more idea, and that's what we do with when we have equations, okay? So words that represent an equal sign are equals, and the word is. Is always means equals. It is this. So if I look at A, 3 less than x is equal to 13. Well, that's going to be x minus 3 and then equals 13. For B, 7 times a number is 28. Well, 7 times a number could be 7x. You could also put 7n or 7a or whatever letter you pick, but I'm going to pick x. So 7 times a number is that equal sign 28. C, 5 more than a number is equal to 9. So 5 more than a number is 5 plus x is equal to 9 is equals 9. And lastly, the quotient of x and 3 is 25. So x divided by 3 equals 25. So you're going to see some simple ones. You're going to see some complicated ones. You're going to see them all mixed together. So take your time on this target, and please always ask for help if you need it. Good luck.